Hi teacher, good evening. My name is Jean Ramirez. I hope you're doing very well. The topic of this video is about the class number 4. For the 4th class, I decided to choose the topic of models of advice and suggestions with less and why don't you and why don't we. The students' grade is first baccalaureate, students' level is elementary, the duration of the class is 45 minutes. The objectives or goals of this class are that learners will be able to identify ways to give advice and suggestions. Also, learners will be able to give advice and suggestions effectively and properly. Furthermore, learners will be able to recognize different types of diseases. Moreover, learners will be able to construct examples of advice and suggestions by their own. About the methodology and strategies for this class, I decided to use the audiolingual method and grammar translation method for this class. So the methods used in this class were audiolingual and grammar translation. About the strategies for this class were the vocabulary role-play strategy and pair work strategy in a short conversation. For the anticipatory set, first of all, students will watch a video related to illnesses. In that video, some kind of illnesses will be shown. Students will be able to identify them. About the main teaching input, students will be clearly explain models of advice and suggestions, such as should, ought to, and had better. Suggestions with why don't you, why don't we, and let's. I will explain the 3 forms of each model: affirmative, negative, and question. In order for a student to understand the topic, I will translate the words. That's the grammar translation method. After the explanations, students will be asked to do examples according to the model I choose. For instance, I can say, Daniel, please make an example with should in an affirmative way, or Daniela, make an example with had better in a negative way, or make a question with ought to. According to what I say, a student will be doing their examples. After using a PowerPoint presentation, a student will be shown pictures and phrases of illnesses, and they will be asked to listen and repeat the words several times. That's the audiolingual method. Students will have to choose the illness they consider the worst and will have to explain why they think that illness is the worst. They will have enough time to think and give their opinions or ideas. I will also share my opinion and my idea. For example, I can say, I consider that the flu is the worst illness because I cannot eat, I'm not hungry, and I cannot breathe so well when I have the flu and stuff like that. Or when I have a headache, I cannot think properly and I don't feel like doing anything and stuff like that. After that, students will have to complete and perform a short dialogue or conversation using the models and the target vocabulary and phrases. That's the vocabulary role-play strategy. Finally, students will work in pairs again. They will write their answers in their notebook about questions of giving gifts in a culture. Students will ask and answer the question each other in pairs. The questions will be, when should you bring a gift, and should you open a gift right away or later? Students will have to answer and ask that question among one another, and the activity will finish when all the students have asked and answered those questions. About the modeling, The learners understood and acquired information and knowledge about the topic by listening and repeating several times the target vocabulary, and also by analyzing and applying grammar structures and example with the models uh, and suggestions. As the guide practice, students will be asked to work with a partner. Then they will have to compare customs in Ecuador with customs in other countries. I will give them some examples. For instance, I can say in Ecuador, you should eat all the food in the plate. In China, you had better not eat all the food in the plate or dish. Another example, in Ecuador, you should shake hands when you meet a person for the first time. And in China, you had better not shake hands when you meet a person for the first time. I will give examples like that, and students will have to do their own examples. They will give enough time to complete that activity. And the activity will finish when all the students have asked and answered questions, have compared customs in Ecuador and in other countries. For the independent practice, a student will be given a short dialogue, and they will have to correct the mistakes. I will write a short dialogue, and I will put several mistakes, and individually I will ask students to correct one or two mistakes. And again, the activity will be over when all the students individually have correct at least two mistakes. For the assessment, individually, students will have to solve a quiz, and they will have 15 minutes to solve it. Finally, for closing review and follow-up, students will be given a fast or quick feedback. I will finish the class by reinforcing the models of advice and suggestions and the vocabulary about diseases. I will show them again another examples of models and suggestions. I will show them again the pictures of the vocabulary of the diseases in order for the students to consolidate or to reinforce the acquired knowledge, in order for students not forget the knowledge. For didactic materials or supplementary materials, I used a computer, a laptop, markers, the blackboard. I also used the PowerPoint presentation. In the PowerPoint presentation, what includes several pictures, for example, the stomachache, the headache, the fever. Also will include some expressions, some phrases like what's the matter, what's wrong, to ask when there is a problem. There also includes some responses like thanks for your advice. It also includes the phrases, the target phrases, why don't we combining those phrases with the vocabulary. For example, why don't you take a pill? I have a headache, why don't you take a pill? And examples like that. And in the assessment, a student will have to circle the correct answer. They will also have to underline the correct answers. Students will also have to watch a video. A video is also included in the materials, as I told before. Expressions like sorry to hear that are also included. And the conversation is also included, the dialogue is also included in the supplementary materials. And the quiz will include all the models. They will have to complete sentences with had better and had better not. Likewise, they will have to complete sentences with should or shouldn't, and also using some verbs from the box, and those will be the activities in the those will be the didactic materials or supplementary materials. That was all for today. I hope you like and enjoy it, and see you on the fifth video.